Hello, I'm Incarnate, bringing you all the latest indie gaming goodness. Today we have two subjects that I'd like to cover. The first is town looting, so scavenging specifically in towns, what resources to target, what resources are important for day one survival or at least survival for the first few days or weeks, and what items you can leave behind, and also what items that you may want to look at later in the game. We're going to talk also about a couple of techniques for safely getting in and out of town. The second thing that I want to cover today is the horde survival. So as you can see, it is now day 7. We will have a horde descend upon us tonight, and at the moment I don't have a base. I simply do not have the resources in order to build a base at this stage. If I was to build a base, the base would probably be overrun by the horde. Now, I intend to change that and build a base that will actually withstand a large attack. But at the moment, I am going to look at finding a building in town that will withstand the horde and sheltering in that building. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm crafting some cloth out of these cotton plants, and I'm going to talk to you about the kit that I take with me to town. So the standard items that I take with me on any scavenging run are stone axe, of course. This never leaves my inventory. A melee weapon, a club, a bow, and of course at least 20 or 30 arrows, as many as you can take with you. I also always make sure to take some frames with me. The last thing I make sure to have is some bandages. So I'm actually going to make another bandage. Now if you have honey or antibiotics, always take some with you in order to heal yourself. Finally, I make sure to carry a little bit of food, a little bit of water, and of course some healing supplies, our painkillers. Now, if you have a gun, obviously take a gun with you. If you don't, always make sure you have some sort of ranged weapon with you. In our case, we have the bow. The bow is a pretty good weapon in terms of a cheap and weapon that is easy to find ammunition. So I always carry a bow with me. If I don't have the bow, I'll have the crossbow. I'll have one or the other. Even when I get a gun, I still will always carry the bow because it's easy to find ammo for, and it's a good hunting method for animals because it's a waste to be using bullets on some enemies. Unfortunately, that rabbit's actually run into the wilderness there. So we're going to keep moving. So I'm running low on food, obviously. I've only got 2 pieces of meat left. We're going into town to hopefully find some food and also to target a building that we're going to be spending the night on. As I said, we don't have the resources to build a base that will withstand a zombie horde at this stage. I'm going to be working on that, but just for the moment, we need to make it through this night. So the things that we're going to be targeting in our town run are going to be food, first of all. We're going to get some food, hopefully, off this deer. Some water. More importantly, water containers. So I want to try and find some jars, and also if I can find some more water. So the empty tins, we can use the empty tins. I think that deer's bugging out because I'm definitely hitting him. I'm going to run a little bit up the hill and try and spook him and get him to move a bit further away. I don't like wasting arrows on deers if there are other animals that I can hunt, but at the moment we're pretty low on food, so we can't afford to be picky. Now one thing, if you're going into raid a town, you probably shouldn't be carrying raw meat on you unless you're desperate. Because I'm actually running very low on food, I'm going to be doing that. But I always recommend that when you go on a town run, the first tip is to, 1, get your kit, and 2, always make sure that you wait until you're very hungry and thirsty before you go into town. You'll often find that you'll be carrying more food than you can bring back, and a good thing to do is to actually is to go in very hungry, and then all the extra food that you can't carry, eat it up. So your stomach's full. We'll ignore that pig for now. What I'm looking for here is either a cooking pot. Wow, okay. And we've actually found a very useful tool. This is the wrench. And we're going to take this because we're going to use it to build our base. We use that to upgrade stone blocks. So what we're looking for here is hopefully some seeds. Seeds are often found in coolers and in garbage bins. These are coolers, and you'll find food in here. No luck there. You'll find these coolers scattered throughout what I call the Wasteland biome. This is the Wasteland biome. And they're everywhere, and it's a really good and quick way to get some food. Really quick. But it's also, you'll find some of the three main foods in here. And any of these foods, which are the potato, the corn, or blueberries, you can actually, rather than eat them, break them down for seeds. So if I find any of those three in one of these coolers, I'm going to break them down for seeds, and then I'll be able to plant them back at my base and have a reliable source of food. So food grows very slow in this game, so it's not going to be a quick fix. I'm not going to be completely self-sufficient, but over time we'll be using that food to survive, and we won't need to go on hunting runs as often. The other advantage of some of the food items can also be used for other crafting. An example of this is the corn. So corn can also be used for several things, like you can turn it into fuel, so to make it into biofuel. You can also make alcohol from corn. You can break it down into alcohol, and other things that the other food, like the potatoes, can be used for. Potatoes can be used to break down into or you can the potatoes are only a food item, but you can actually cook the potatoes. You can bake the potatoes, and you can also turn them into other seeds. So we're getting rid of some of these. We don't want those. They're too much rubbish. Now, unfortunately, we have not found any seeds, so we're actually going to go into town, and we're going to look there. This will be a very good spot to return to later on. Ah, here we go. So we've actually found not the one that I was looking for, which was corn, but we have found potatoes. So we can actually, what we're going to do is we're not going to eat that potato. We're going to break that potato down. Ah, we found a first aid kit. We can now make first aid kits. Excellent. So what you do is click on the potato. Where are we? Select the recipes button, and you can make seeds. This ought to give us 2 seeds. Oh, only 1. Okay. So we have to be very careful with our solitary potato. What I'm doing is, another thing is, as you go through the town, you'll notice that I'm scrapping items that I don't need. So these items, like some things like this, I don't need that cowboy hat. This football helmet would be nice, but this hat actually gives me a bonus to coolness. So depending on the biome you're in, this would actually be alright if the quality was a bit better, but it's not worth it because it's pretty bad quality. Also, these other items can be scrapped for cloth, so I'm scrapping the other items for cloth. That's brass, but I'm actually better off keeping this brass here to turn it into casings. Okay. Excellent. So we've gotten rid of all the rubbish in our inventory. Let's go into town, and now that we've got some seeds, what we need to find is hopefully some food to last us until the seeds fully grow, and also some water. So I'd like to find some more water bottles. Now when you come into any of these buildings, you'll see this building here. Always clear any zombies that are around the area. Quick tip about combat is I always use the club. I get in, I deliver a hit to the head, and then I back up before they can retaliate. With a good club like this metal one, you'll actually stagger them with each hit. Now, I've actually been hurt. I'm actually really hurt. And I'm infected, unfortunately, which is the worst possible outcome. I'm going to have this honey, which will cure my infection. And I'm actually pretty badly hurt from that. Unfortunately, that was my only source of antibiotics, so I have to be very careful and make sure that I don't get infected again. There we go. So that was a turn of bad luck for me. That was my only antibiotic, so it's a bit sad, but again, sometimes you will actually get a hit from a zombie, and that's why I don't recommend you engage them unless there's more than one that you've got. If there's more than 3 zombies at a time, then you're probably better off backing up and using your bow. Now, because I don't have a lot of arrows, I'm actually going to make some more. I brought some stones and some feathers with me. I'm going to make 50 arrows. Whoops. Going to make all of those. We will actually, because it's Horde Night, I'm going to actually completely make fill my inventory with arrows. So we're very lucky. We've actually found honey. Now, honey is an antibiotic, and what happens is when a zombie hits you, and I think I've covered this before, but there is a chance you will actually become infected with the virus. There are 2 ways to cure yourself, either by eating honey, because as we know, honey is a natural antibiotic, or you can actually get an antibiotic pill. And you can get antibiotic pills from either medicine cabinets, or you can get them from these chicks here. These are nurses. So if you see a nurse zombie, and you can, always make sure to kill these guys, because you will get medical supplies off them. Medical supplies in this game are all important. Now over there you can see there's a bear, so we're not going to go that way. We picked up a lot of water, which is good. So even if we don't get a cooking pot at this point, we'll have enough water to last us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up a bit. I'm going to make another axe, because this stone axe is nearly done. There we go. There's actually quite a lot of zombies inside from the sound of it. So I'm going to break my way in. Now, the one thing to note is that you always try and look for the weakest point. Always look for the weakest point in a building. And the weakest point in this case is a window or a door. Break the window. Let them come to you. You can see that they climbed there. They're going to come out. They're slow. When you've got a club like this, get your hit in. Try not to get hit. I'm actually pretty hurt, so what I'm going to do is I brought some painkillers with me. I'm going to chug one of those. I'm actually usually a lot more skilled at this. So you're actually seeing me at my worst. Now here we've found a very useful item. These are coffee beans. Again, this is another type of seed. So we're actually going to take that and we're going to grow some coffee. Very good. Found some steel arrows, but we're going to leave those for the moment. We don't have a forge, so we're trying to prioritize. Now what I'm looking for in here is a cooking pot. We've found food, we've found plenty of water, which is great. And the one thing that we need is hopefully to find a cooking pot. If we can find a cooking pot, we can start boiling water in the glass jars. So often when you search toilets and sometimes containers, you'll find this murky water. It's basically just water that's impure, and it needs to be boiled before you can safely eat it or safely drink it. And what we're looking for here is a cooking pot, because the cooking pot will let us actually consume that without getting dysentery. So if you drink water that is dirty, you have a chance of contracting dysentery, and basically, to put it bluntly, you'll get the shits. So the only way to cure that is by drinking goldenrod tea, and we're going to talk about goldenrod tea in a future episode, but you actually need the cooking pot to make goldenrod tea, so that's a very important item. So now we've got seeds and we've got water. The one thing that we really need in our scavenging run today is a cooking pot. If I can't find a cooking pot, then what we'll need to do is we'll need to get some of these tins, as many as we can, and fill these with water, because I won't be able to boil the water. I won't be able to boil water bottles, but I'll be able to boil the tins. And that's fine, it's just, it can be a bit inconvenient because I'm going to have to carry tins around. And tins can't be stacked, so you can see I'm carrying 10 bottles and it's in a single stack. You can't do that with tins, you actually have to carry them separately, which is because essentially it's an open container. You can't seal the top of it, so it's meant to be more cumbersome. Now another thing we're looking for today are items for the forge. Now I'm going to talk about forging in a future episode, but the ingredients for a forge are clay, metal pipes, and hides. They're the three main things you'll need. I believe you need some stone as well, but they're the three items that you should look for in your scavenging run. Now, pipes are easy enough to find. We've actually got 4 of them. You'll mainly find them in... Oh, wow, there's some nice items. You'll mainly find them in cars, and you'll also find them occasionally on zombies. But the other thing that you want to look for, if you can, is these animal hides, and you'll get them from hunting animals. But so basically, as you go through, every time you hunt an animal, if you use a knife to cut it up, you'll get some hides off the animal. There's some bullets. Now again, we actually, the 10mm round is it's very hard to find, a submachine gun. So people may disagree with me in the comments, but I'm actually going to leave this behind. Wow, okay, now we've actually got a really good wrench. So I'm going to scrap this one. So any item that, again, I think I did cover this, but any item that you, if you don't want it, click on the item and you'll be able to scrap the item. Some items can't be scrapped, but if you have an item made out of metal, you get a little bit of scrap metal back. If you have an item made out of wood, you'll get some wood back, and so on. So now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Unfortunately, we haven't found what we came for, so we're going to try and search a couple more houses. We've got a little bit more time, and then what we're going to do is we're going to return to that bank. That bank's going to be our final goal. I'm going to take out this deer, if I can. Because we've got a little bit of food, but I would like to take some meat with us back to town. And of course it is Horde night tonight, so we are actually going to need enough food to make it through the night. There we go, taking out the deer. So what we're going to probably have to do is cook this food before nightfall and eat it. Our character, obviously, as you can hear, is quite hungry. We'll get rid of this guts on the ground. Excellent. So I think that's enough meat for now. We don't want to overdo it. Ah, we found a mining helmet. Now, I'll come back and get that stuff in a second once I take this chick out here. So a mining helmet gives us a portable light source and is one of the best hats in the game. Nice. This is a bottle of grain alcohol, and this is also essential for Horde Night. I'll explain why in a second, but once I empty my inventory out. We'll eat that beef. And what we'll do is we'll scrap this club because it's nearly busted. We'll replace it with this. What we're doing is we're clearing the bank out. This building over on our left is the bank. And that's where we're going to be spending the night, over there. The bank will let us have a safe place to stay because it's made out of solid brick and stone. And it's one of the few buildings that will be able to survive an assault from the Horde. What we need to do is we need to clear the building out first. The Horde will come in at 10 o'clock tonight. So we have roughly about 5 hours or so. Hopefully enough time to do a little bit more searching. We need a little bit of food. We are hungry now. Just looking at what to eat. We'll eat this first. Well, what I'm doing is I'm trying to eat the food that is taking up my inventory. There we go. And we want to take these guys out as well. So again, when you're fighting zombies, a good tip is take your strike, back up before they get a chance to retaliate. When they hit the ground, go all out. They are helpless while they're on the ground. Hit them as much as you can. When they regain their balance, back up. Another tip is these big guys. They are very tough. Don't ever get hit by those guys. They will wreck you. If I have some more arrows, generally I will use my bow to take these guys out. Now I'm pretty low on stamina at the moment, so I'm going to back up a bit. What I want to do is I want to clear this bank out, kill all these zombies around the bank, and then when the bank's clear, I'm going to try and loot some more nearby buildings and hopefully find that elusive cooking pot. Now we've got quite a bit of a fan club coming in. Another thing you want to do is always make sure you do a little bit of a spin. Check behind you. This isn't like Project Zomboid where your vision becomes obscured, but like most first-person shooters, enemies can sneak up on you. Thankfully, zombies are loud, so you'll often know when one's near. When they're on the ground, they're pretty safe to take out at your leisure. That's what we're going to do here. There is a bug occasionally where the zombies will actually remain standing after you kill them. Not a big deal. That guy's dropped a lot of water. These guys, even though they're dangerous, they're a very good source of resources. If you can get good with your club and you get hungry and you need food in a hurry, these guys are an excellent source of food and water. They will often drop canned food or bottles of water, and they'll often drop more than one. They'll probably drop 3 or 4 at a time. So I'm going to try and take this guy out before his friend comes. Here we go. Now I'm actually low on stamina, so I'm going to have to break out the bow. Got a free hit in there. Unfortunately, there is quite a big horde around this bank, so I do need to clear this out because this is where we're going to be spending the night. And I'm going to explain why the bank is a good idea. But at the moment I need to concentrate on getting as much resources as I can before it gets dark. Here we go. I'm going to repair this. I've got some scrap metal. So that's healing supply. So we might actually use that because we did actually take a hit. Beautiful. I'll pop our club back. So what I'd like to do, if possible, is hit one more building for supplies. And fingers crossed we'll manage to get our hands on a cooking pot. Because that's actually the only thing that's missing. I've got all the essentials that I need. Oh, that was a bit cheap. He didn't even swing then. Occasionally you will get that, so be careful when fighting zombies up close. And if you don't have antibiotics or honey, make sure that you try not to fight them at all, because yeah, if you get hit and you get infected, it makes you incredibly weak. And until you find honey, you're in a lot of trouble. So when you're breaching any building, you always want to try and go for the windows. The windows are nice and easy to break into, as you can see. We go straight for the kitchen, because the kitchen has the value with food and water. We'll just make sure that there's no zombies inside. Check out the medicine cabinet. Sinks. Toilet. And then the kitchen. Hopefully we find... I'm really hoping for that cooking pot. That's gonna be the last thing that we really need. We found lots and lots of tins, so if we can't, we've got some more seeds. That's great. No luck. So we just have to keep looking. The cooking pot's not too hard to find. You just have to keep searching houses. I'm going to leave that downstairs area for the moment. Jump out. We're going to hit one more house. And hopefully we will find a cooking pot in here. Because the zombies have very kindly taken the... Well, we'll take this guy out. Unfortunately, we do have a bit of a crowd forming. We're not going to have time, so I'm going to try and quickly get into that kitchen. We'll see. If I can get into the kitchen, here we go. So I'm basically searching all the cupboards, crossing my fingers to find a cooking pot. If I can't find a cooking pot, it's no big deal, because I picked up lots of tins, so I can actually store water. And of course I've got plenty of the water bottles that we've scavenged today. We'll drink some of those. So we've got some incoming. We're going to get out of here because we don't want to get trapped. These guys are very tough, so they can eat up your hits. Let's get out of here. I'm going to head back to the bank. And we now have enough supplies to last us through the night. Now, unfortunately, we did not get that cooking pot, and that was a bit of a shame. But it's all good, because what we did get was lots and lots of empty cans. So what I'll do is I'll take these back to my base. I'll fill them all up with water from the nearby stream. We'll boil the cans, and then we'll be able to... Hopefully, oh, there's some more water. We've actually got lots and lots of water. And I've actually got a full set of glass jars. So when we're able to, there we go. Drop that dirty water as well, because it seems like I've got Got plenty of glass jars. Okay. Beautiful. So we've managed to successfully get everything we needed. Going to break for a moment, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another quick episode on surviving the Horde Night. As I said, we're going to go through the Horde Night. We're going to try and make it through alive. I'm going to give you a little bit of information, but what I have to do now is just get my stuff in order and prepare to survive the Horde on this bank here.